From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicki Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Miss Vicki.
Yes, sir.
You know what?
What?
I've been thinking about this Sentinel system.
Yeah. Tell me about the Sentinel system.
So what I was thinking was, we have the one car that's got the aim dash that's slowing us down. Because installing the aim dash is actually, it probably is easy, but it's quite hard the first time. And we haven't figured that out yet. The Sentinel system is really easy to set up. So what I was thinking was, why don't we put it in the Lemons car? And we'll worry about the aim data information separately. And we'll kind of break it down into a project. Because then we'd have the motorsports video system that we really, really want, and we'd be able to stream it. We just won't have the data inside, but we have the data outside, so we can combine them later. But I think that's a really good solution.
So what does this Sentinel system do?
Well, if it had the aim data, it would have all the data on the screen, and you could see all their telemetry and everything live. But we'd be able to not only record it for viewing after the race, but we could actually watch our car during the race.
Ooh, like on the monitor and everything?
On a monitor, if you were at home and I was at a track, or if you were at the track and I was at home, depends on who gets the little short straw, but we'd be able to watch each other.
It's something I've always wanted to do.
And you know what? If you're driving, you know what you can do on the Sentinel system?
What's that?
You can communicate to me with your hands, and I can't do a thing about it.
Even better.
So, if you need to give a wave or a Jersey wave, whatever you need, we could save it and see it on the screen. And then you can have up to 3 different cameras, and it'll have picture in picture. You'll have the basic main shot out the front window, and then 2 cameras where you put them wherever you want. One could be on the driver, or one could be on the rear view. It's kind of cool.
Then we can upload it onto YouTube.
We could bore millions of people on YouTube.
I love it.
All right. Very well. You know what the only downside I see about this?
What?
Your mom and my mom are going to be panic stricken the entire weekend watching this thing to see if everything's going well.
This is true.
We probably shouldn't tell them.
I like the idea of having a Sentinel.
Mm-hmm. Well, luckily we have maybe 2. Depends on how things go. We're going to try. All right. That sounds like a plan. That's the project. We got to get that ready for the next race.
Sounds great.
All right. Very well. Thank you, ma'am.
Dominating with Dawson.
Recently, we had a episode on dialing in a car, and we had a guest come on, and his name was Nick Romano from Fast Sideways. And Miss Vicki expressed something that concerned me, troubled me even. If only I had an avenue. If only I had a friend. If only I had somebody I could talk to about these technical areas of racing. Mm-hmm. We should make a segment about this. Anybody have any ideas? Anybody?
What are you trying to do? Are you trying to survive? Are you trying to dominate? Are you trying to win?
I'm thinking eventual domination is it's how I roll.
Why not? Why not dominate?
Dominate with Dawson. We need Ben Dawson for dominating Dawson.
I know that guy.
You know
that guy. Yeah.
Ben, you're outnumbered. You're outnumbered on this one.
What can we do? What can we do to help Miss Vicki out?
Well, I mean, we got Miss Vicki. She's the subject of this one, and we also have Jeremy and Mental. Yeah. Appearance.
Hello, everybody.
What a fantastic group to help this situation out.
All right, for those of you who listen.
By the way, great hair, Ben. I'm totally digging that.
I'm into yours as well. It's a smart move to quit getting haircuts. I got to recommend it to anybody.
Yeah. Yes. My hairdo is pretty nice too.
You just keep pushing yours down to your chin.
Yeah, he's pushing it out through the bottom, which is also rad. He looks like a Greek god.
Do you have hair that goes through your mouth? Anyway, so we're on a way to dial in cars, and Miss Vicki expressed that she's not comfortable with her rear tires. Mostly,
just in general,
and the little bit of squiggle gets her a little uncomfortable. No, explain it.
No, that's not it.
Okay, tell me.
Sometimes I'm getting much better with it, but always in the back of my mind, I have a hard time having faith in tires.
Ooh, been there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a confidence thing and trusting it, and because I was really never able to feel it as well. Now I'm feel it, but I always feel like if I'm going full on out, back in my mind, I always feel like I'm going to lose it. The tires are not going to hold.
Lose the what? Just
lose control of the car.
Are you worried about losing the ass end of the car? Is that what you think is going to happen if you're going too hard? Like, I better not go too hard, or I'm going to lose the ass.
Yeah. I mean, I'm much better about it now, but that was always a thing.
In the mortal words of, I forgot who told it to me first. I believe it's the 3-word answer that applies to this is just stop sucking.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's.
I think I heard Ben Dawson say one time, just send it.
Said it.
I don't know about that, but I would think I would say just stop being bad at it. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. Yeah. You got the real answer coming over here for mental
chiming in.
I've said this for years, and I could be corrected by the professional, but this is the thing about tires: is every tire has the exact same conversation. It starts with you have absolute, complete, and total traction. The tire will do exactly what you want it to do. And it progresses from, okay, I'm starting to lose it a little bit. Now you're about half slide, half grip, and then it will proceed all the way to you have zero grip. Drifters, for example, live over here at the 75, 80% where they lose traction. But every tire has that exact same conversation. And we tell a lot of people, and I've seen Eric do this, and I've seen Jay do this. And then even at coaching events, we tell people, don't spend money on expensive tires. Go get a set of all seasons until you learn that conversation. Now, once you understand that conversation and you recognize the syllables and the tone and everything that the car is telling you, you can apply that conversation to everything from an all season radial to a racing slick. It's just the more grip you have in a racing environment, that conversation, exactly the same, gets compressed, but you still have to recognize the tone and the, urgentness of what the tire is telling you, but learn the tire conversation.
And the freak out point of the conversation with a real race tire, a slicker, and R-Comp, that freak out point is just so sudden. You're right. Like, it compresses the whole experience. You got a lot of time to think about it with a big old, 500 treadwear tire that's going to be talking to you all the way to the edge of the track, and even when you're in control.
Yeah.
So mental brought it up. And I think that's the thing. And I think in one of my devious plots to help everybody get better, I may have complicated Vicki's life by going from, we were an all rear-wheel drive car team and through most of our training, we've been an all-wheel drive team. And then threw a Honda in her way. And I don't think you've ever gotten comfortable with that.
Actually, I have gotten very, very comfortable with the front wheel. And that's only because I've listened to what people have told me about it and how to drive it. And I've taken all that information, and much like when we had the guests that were hopping in our car from the Jesse Combs Foundation. From the Jesse Combs Foundation, they all showed up in rear wheel drives. And I told them it is a pull, not a push going around the track.
That's brilliant advice, though. My God.
It is, yeah.
It is.
Where were you 15 years ago when I started racing with the 3-pedal Mafia and their front-wheel drive cars?
Right. So
I want a question for you before you get back into it, because I don't want to get off of front-wheel drive. If you've gotten more confident in the Cookie Honda, is that what we're talking about, that car?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
How do you feel about the rear end in that car? Do you feel more comfortable with your rear end in a front-wheel drive car?
I do, because I found it to be easier to correct because I just punch on the gas.
Right. You just
but
stand
you
on
know
it and
what?
it takes you
It
out.
was a it was a mental thing
What
that
did he do?
that I had to keep but I had to keep telling myself how to drive the car. And I would always do that going into the turns. But it's different when driving a rear wheel car because I have to tell myself now that I
Gotcha.
have to ease up to gain grip versus punch
Gotcha.
down. Yeah.
Gotcha. I remember I'm sometimes paying attention when we record these episodes, and I remember one time probably 100 episodes ago, you were talking about the first time you ever got a little bit of wiggle going in the race truck, maybe El Jefe or something. You're like, I finally got some movement in the rear, and you were all excited about it. So I was sort of surprised to hear you being
Oh yeah.
coming back around and be like, I'm
Yeah.
kind of scared of the rear end. So let me relate this to you in a way. This is some advice, knowing where you probably are with your driving. We have a new operator in our plant making boxes, and he wants to stop the machine every 2 seconds. Like, oh, one got a little quicker. We're like, don't stop the machine. I'll tell you when these boxes are too bad. Otherwise, keep running. Vicki,
Right.
I'll tell you when you're going too fast. Send me some video when you're worried about, oops, I might be going too fast for the rears. Send that video to me, and I'll tell you if you're going too fast and need to be worried about the rear getting out of control on you. But until then, keep hammering it. Hammer the shit out of it. It's fine. It's not, the rear end's not going anywhere on you. It's like you would really have to be messing up in this time and something to have the rear end stepping out on you. Probably, at the level where you're driving, I just don't think you're about to overpower the rear unless you make a big mistake. But you've been practicing, so I don't think you're out there to make a lot of big mistakes, are you?
I do have to tell you, when I start losing the rear end, I actually kind of giggle a little bit now because I've learned how to correct it really fast. I'm like,
there you go.
It started to get out from under me, and I haven't really learned how to master it to use it to my benefit.
That is the fast way off the corner, so figure it out.
Right.
So, Jeremy, would you care to do the front wheel drive rotation walkthrough in a turn? If not,
front wheel drive.
How do you do it? I guess.
How do you do it for Miss Vicki so she knows how to use that to her advantage? Because I don't think she's thought it all the way through or figured it out yet.
How do you do it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, front wheel drive.
Ideally, you don't want to do it though, right? You want to make sure that your tires have contact without losing grip.
Yes and no. So Mental's got it right there, right? So you need the rear wheel drive. So when you got excited about El Jefe, right? Let's say clubhouse turn at Thompson.
Oh my gosh, I use that so much.
So you would get the back end to move a little bit, all the way through the corner.
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing with front wheel drive. You need that back end to rotate a little bit more so that you can come out of that corner much faster, much harder. Mental.
And I say this, recognize that I'm way out of my element with Dawson here.
Oh,
one of the biggest kind of jumps in my ability as a driver was when I recognized, not just on an intellectual, but on a muscle level, that you can use the brake and the gas not as velocity control devices, but as direction changing devices. And you can use the steering wheel as an ability to slow and speed up the car. And and I know all of you guys are really, because I follow your social medias, you guys go karting a lot, and that's a great place to practice and experiment with that.
Sure.
Indeed. So what my concern is, and this is not I think it's a problem. I'm concerned it's a problem. You're making a transition to a front wheel drive car and you're starting to get it. What do you think is going to happen if you do a rear wheel drive car? You haven't done one in a while. Like say at VIR.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I know. First of all, I am. Well, you know what? First of all, I'm only going to be driving that car 710. Because I am not a comfortable person in that car, and until I start actually feeling the car, I'm not pushing the car.
VIR is a place that will eat your lunch. it's a track with a little bit of nuance, if I may say.
Yeah. We're not going to be pounding on that car when I'm in it until I mean, ideally at some point I would like to take that BMW out to a
How about we take it to a
Skid
track?
pad.
Pad. A skid pad. No, seriously, I would want to take it to a skid pad.
Done.
Or a
Before you
drift
feel
competition.
Or a drift competition, perhaps. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly
with
want
some
to do
snow
that.
tires on the back of it.
Yeah.
Or some mucho machos.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
front
think
wheel
something
drive
that-
is very unique, and I know that Vicky's and everybody is getting very used to it very quickly. That is where most of my stuff came from. Like I started in rear wheel drive, but then I did many years in a front wheel drive car, and it's very interesting that you, like Mental said earlier, you can use the front tires for many different things, and if you're really trying to make a pass and you need to dive in, a front wheel drive car can go around a corner basically anywhere. And you can use those tires to scrub even more speed than just being on the brakes at the same time as cutting a corner, getting the back end to come straight around and just rocketing out of the corner.
Right.
And I've noticed that some of the in-car video of Vicki that I've seen at pit race, you're starting to really get that. Right. And your back end kind of twitches and moves just a little tiny bit. And that's what you really want in a front wheel drive car.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're saying a front wheel drive car might be a little bit better than some rear wheel drive cars at multitasking. Whereas a rear wheel drive car, you got to get it pointed, you got to get it turned in,
Much
got to get
better.
it settled. So I think something that Mental said that made a lot of sense to me was when he was talking about using the steering wheel as not just a rotational device, but something to affect the speed of the car, because we all drive cars that are not optimal for racing. None of us are out here driving two frame, ground up race cars. We're all driving production cars, and they tend to understeer. So that was one of the first things I figured out on a similar arc to Mental was like, I realized like, hey, this is not going to steer. I may as well jam on these fronts with the steering and, let the front slow down as I try to heave this thing around. I might as well, brake a little bit later and let the front tires do a little bit of slowing while they're not turning me. They may as well slow me down a little bit and sort of, using the wheel as a plowing device, sort of just to try to get the turn started. But understeer and how you can use it to your advantage is something that we are all going to have to deal with at our level of racing, where we're driving these hack kind of cars that aren't necessarily built from the ground up for us to be doing this with.
So, Miss Vicki, I've got two options. Option A, why don't you drive the BMW at Grid Life? Or option
He's been
B.
thinking about this the whole time.
I could do that. I could do that.
Or option B, we could try and see if we can get a quick half-day track day at Lime Rock on the Grid Life on the skid pad.
That would probably be very good. I mean, that was my biggest growth was from a skid pad.
Yeah, it seems like you need to get your rear wheel drive legs back, and it seems like a skid pad would be a great way to do that.
I have never been in the BMW when I was supposed to be going to VIR.
Well, I've never been to a skid pad, so don't bother me.
Oh.
I go, let's just pop over to the skid pad.
Yeah,
come up this way.
Yeah,
Ben.
why don't we
You
just
come up
skip
this
it all? And we're just going to go over to the skid pad.
You come up this way.
You guys have raced at Atlanta Motorsports Park. They have a wonderful skid pad.
It's not local.
Oh yeah, that's right. They do. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Jeremy.
So back to the original part of this segment here, is you weren't comfortable with your rear tires, right? So the Mental talked about tires having, a huge range, right? So I think going to a skid pad or something where you can experience that entire range with that particular tire, because every tire does something different. It may talk to you, it may not talk to you. The range, like Mental said, could be this big or it could be this big. So you really need to get out and find in the tire that you're using, find that range, find your comfort level with that tire, find out where that tire doesn't like you anymore and leaves the chat. And that's going to make you a lot more comfortable.
The other thing is, if you drive by tire noise, I've noticed the more tracks we do, the noise with the same tire does not mean the same thing on certain tracks.
Correct.
Oh yeah, totally.
Oh, I did not know
It
that.
doesn't mean that
no
it
noise.
doesn't mean the same thing in different parts of the same track. Depending on kind of an aggregate you're driving on.
Yeah, totally.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so we've got work to do before
We have to do it fast.
Yeah, Vicki, I need you to find your butt in confidence again, because y'all are going to come to my home track when I'm Disney World, and so I need y'all to at least show up good for the team. Okay, so get your confidence back, get it together.
Ben, I want to talk to you about that track before you disappear.
Oh, we will be having.
I've never been there.
I thought you were gonna be like, I want to talk to you about some Disney hacks to make your experience better, because I know you've been there.
I can give you that too.
Okay, good.
We're gonna have.
We'll chat offline. Don't worry about it.
There will be a VIR, whether it turns into a podcast episode or not. There will be a VIR discussion in our future.
We'll do a little debrief. I'll tell you a few tricks I've learned since attending that place since the year 2005.
Bingo. All right, Miss Vicki, we got some work to do. We're going to get it done.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, have you been to VIR before? Just even been there at all?
Nope, I have not been to VIR. We've been trying to get there.
And Bill, I think you've already taught there, haven't you?
I have not. I have not even attended.
Right. So this is a VIR is one of those tracks, and they're not making any more like this. Every new track is computer CAD designed. There's a handful of tracks that you just feel the history because they made it up as they went along. It wasn't designed to mimic anything. And it's Road Atlanta, it's Mid Ohio, it's Laguna, and VIR, Sebring. Yeah, Sebring's a completely different disaster, but yes. But
I don't know that I've heard it used in that term.
Yeah.
Sebring was when Curtis LeMay was saving racing. That's an topic for another show. But while you're there and while you're learning, while you're getting comfortable, just as you often do, because you are definitely the spiritual kind of guide of this group of folks, just take it in. It's such a wonderful place. There's so much history there, and it's like Road Atlanta and Mid Ohio and Laguna, where you can just feel it. And we all raced Laguna together many, many moons ago, and it was a wonderful time. But we all just, oh man, we're at Laguna. Don't be afraid to just go. I'm at VIR, and that's cool.
Yeah.
Y'all are about to find out where like every other word I say is VIR. Not just because I live an hour from here, but it's that cool.
It is.
Well, I'm excited about going. The car that we're taking is I believe a monster. So at least.
What car are you? What are you racing down there?
E46 330.
It's set up. It's really set up.
It's a big boy car compared to all the other cars that Vicki's been driving.
Right.
Well, also, and also, there's no requirement for you to be trying as absolutely hard as you can try. Have fun in the car.
And I think that's what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be racing a track, not people there.
The beautiful thing about it is they're very easy to drive.
They're very easy. It's going to be easy to drive
very
and control.
Balanced.
And also another good piece of news is the AER traffic. People are looking out for you. You're looking out for everybody else. There's not a big chance of some outlier in an Astro van, coming across your bow. Everybody's just a little bit different level of driving. Not to be intimidated by, but just to be comforted by that. People out there have been in traffic a bunch, and in general, AER traffic is nice.
Lot fewer dildos to dodge in traffic.
The dildo count.
Well,
the dildo count way down at AER.
What at VIR? I mean, what is the average amount of cars on the track?
I think last year they had 41 cars in AER last year.
You will not be crowded.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm used to spatial awareness at this point, so that would be my with the but listen, with the big boy car dealing with something like traffic levels like lemons, I would have a problem. But if it's 40 cars, no, I'm not gonna have a problem with it.
It's gonna be like an HPDE.
Yeah.
A little faster.
Even though it's a big boy car, you've raised children. Don't be afraid to put that car over your knee and smack it. That car works for you.
That's true.
All right. You ain't there to work for that car. That car better watch its P's and Q's.
It'll be fine. You've driven the E36 race car at Charlotte Roval. This will be fine.
That car's gonna be vanilla compared to some of the shit you've had to drive. So don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's a brilliant car.
Yeah. All right. We're way off into the weeds. Bye.
Bring it back.
Bye.
Thanks for having me back. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thanks, guys.
So this is our mother list of questions for Ben. It's got about 1,200. So we just kind of work our way through.
God, you could get this guy to quit his other podcast and do this for me. Just give it a new name with his name. Say, hey, this is.
Then I'd have to get shirts and stickers and
monitoring with mental. Yeah.
Monitoring with mental.
I try to resign like 2 times a session every time we get together.
I know. I'm just an all around dumb Latin major, blah, blah, blah.
All right. I did get the dominating with questions for Ben's segment, which in any other environment could be misconstrued.
Well, we didn't have a name when I created this doc. We didn't have the dominating with Dawson, so I just gave us questions for Ben.
All right. So what is the color code? Because everything is blue, but I saw like one red thing.
Anything in blue is the mother list as you like them is all the stuff that we have not tested yet. Colors don't mean anything in there. And then way down at the bottom, there are items that we've covered already.
Okay.
And you can literally choose anything you want.
Okay. So 52 is where it starts, like corner weighting and all of that. All right.
So you can
or
go
anything that's on your mind. It doesn't have to be from the list. If you got something you want to talk about, let's do that.
Okay.
I mean, there's probably a couple hundred on there that we haven't done at all. So as soon as Hair Jeremy, the Hair Jeremy's back. Santa Jeremy. Anybody got one that they're wanting to do?
Sometimes they ask questions I'm too dumb for, and I'm like,
Sometimes?
No, many times, frequently they do that.
I like when I ask Ben, I'm like, well, let's talk about this. He's like, I don't know anything. Do you know anything? And I'm like, nope. All right, we'll wait for Jeremy.
Sorry, Ben. You opened that door a little bit. I had to kick it open.
All right.
Oh, no,
do I highlight them if I want one, or do I
just tell me a number and I'll bring it in.
Okay. 5.
5.